Okay, welcome to the May 3rd emergency meeting of the Dams Committee based on the flooding that we've had from this recent storm. We had in this area around 5.5 inches of rain. Watson Pond at the top of Watson Kimball Pond Road, they had 6 3/4 inches. And this is about as much as anyone in central Maine has gotten. In central Maine got hit worse than anybody. So introduce ourselves. I'm Dick Green in chair.
Garrett Lusky, secretary.
Craig Alexander, Belgrade delegate. Lee Borax, Rome alternate.
Tom Bennett, Belgrade.
Cameron McElvey, and
I'd
say Mount Vernon.
Okay. Can we have our guest?
I'm Gordon Woods, representing East Pond.
Oh, you spawned. Okay, good. Thanks.
Ed Cornwall and Edie Cornwall, she has a laryngitis with me spawn.
I'm working on it. Yeah.
Hudson, Rome, Birch Wetland.
Okay, good. Thanks. Yeah.
John Rice, Castle Island, Long Pond.
Long time no see. I just left him.
And I'm Eric Brown, North Pond Association.
Okay, good, good,
And Hans Rasmussen, code enforcement.
good. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get started. And looking at the flow, we've got a dilemma right now to address to where we are, where we've been, and where we think we're going here in the next few days in particular. And as we all know, that the water flows basically from East Pond to North Pond. And Edie, you told me earlier today that, well, yesterday you said East Pond was about a foot above.
6 inches.
And then your gates are open up. Right now, you're still a foot.
6.
6 inches.
6 inches.
Just above the full.
Okay, but you were a foot. Didn't you say a foot, or somebody told me it was a foot? Okay, and you haven't opened 2 boards, which is how much?
Oh, we have.
But is that 20 inches or is it 2 feet or 8
12
inches?
inches is all the boards are. The boards are 12 inches.
Thick, each one. So you have 2 feet open,
Two side by side.
Side by side.
side by side, okay,
Spillway.
1 4.
to work with. Okay,
They're 10 feet?
10 feet each.
Yeah, 10 feet.
So we have 20 feet of spillway, but it's also going over another section that is fixed concrete. That's on the other side, which is almost about the same length. So it's going over. They're wide open.
yeah, going into North Pond. So how's North Pond right now?
Well, I'm not the dam keeper, that's
Right.
Sean Tuttle, he couldn't be here, but, North Pond is at least a foot higher than normal. We have 2 6-inch beams that, if it's completely closed, we raised 1 6-inch beam, a week ago. And we can't get to the bottom one because the water coming over is too dangerous right now.
Right after the storm that morning, how high was North Pond?
I'm hearing about 2 feet of water going over the dam at that point.
And so the top of the dam, would you consider that full pond?
Yeah,
Okay, and it was going over
oh yeah,
about 2 feet?
yeah,
Okay. And obviously, that's all going into North Pond is then going into Great Pond.
mhm,
Fortunately, I just drove by Great Meadow Stream, and that is still ripping.
yeah,
Fortunately, I also drove by Rome Hollow, and which was all washed out yesterday, the day before, is back to normal. That's perfect. And as is the Rome Trout Brook, that's pretty normal. So most of the water now coming out into Great Pond is coming through Great Meadow Stream from North Pond.
mhm,
So that's still
yeah,
a big issue.
yeah.
Getting into Great Pond now as of yesterday.
Make sure you understand that that's also happening with our bottom beam still in place because we couldn't get to it
Yeah,
to raise it.
yeah.
So,
So you're gonna, what's your immediate future look like?
well, we'd like to raise the bottom beam as soon as it's safely possible.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll just slow up, keep what you got. or slow things up?
No, to let more water out, to let more water out,
Okay,
yeah.
we're gonna get even more.
But that might, I mean, like I say, I talked to Sean Tuttle, our dam keeper, yesterday. And he said it could be a week before it's safe to get in there. There's so much water rushing over that dam right now. It's too dangerous.
Great Pond, yesterday, was 4 inches above, 4.2 inches above full pond. This morning, 20 hours later, it's 6.36 inches above, and it's going up slowly with this water coming in. And that's kind of our dilemma right now. Right now, Great Pond has come up 2.16 inches in the past 20 hours, 24 hours. And that's the trend. I just drove by the marina, Great Pond Marina, and they're fine. I drove by the post office in the village, and that looks fine. What do you see?
I've seen all the way up through the stream, I've seen going north on the west side of the stream. I mean, we're right at the top of the, the rocks, basically. Where usually we're down onto the rock
Right,
embankment.
so we're 6.5 inches above full pond. How much more can we put into Great Pond without releasing some? And more flooding, but you
I
know,
wouldn't want to go another 24, more than another 24 hours, another 2 inches.
it was still closed. Great Pond's still closed right now, so that's our.
Been closed this whole time?
It's been closed the whole time,
Wow, that's amazing.
because we were down already 8 to 9 inches
Right,
below,
right,
okay?
yeah,
So we knew with the storm, we had room,
yeah.
no matter what form it took, you know, we had room, and that proved to be the case. So that's why people have driven by, through the village and say, what are these guys doing? The gates are closed. Well, Great Pond was down so low. So then it came up to full. We want Great and Long Pond and salmon about 3 inches above full pond. Because we know we're going into another year of drought.
Right,
And at 3 inches above full pond, no one's really complaining. We're not floating off any docks. We're not floating off any natural loon nest hummocks and things like that. So we can go 3 inches in comfort. So we want Great Pond 3 inches above. Now we're 3 inches above that. Okay, we're 6 inches above full pond and coming up 2 inches a day.
and you've got, well, I was gonna say, because you've got all that coming out of Great Meadow, which you just saw.
That's right.
And it's still going over that North Pond Dam, and it's still coming out of East Pond
So
pretty
that's,
hard. What used to be the Sunset Camps in Smithfield.
Yep.
That's the Serpentine Stream or whatever, that's coming up to close to those cabins.
Yeah.
On that stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got a lot of water coming into Great Pond.
and we also have salmon. There's salmon dumping in, and salmon dumping into Great Pond. Salmon is, well, you want to tell them, Cam? You just told me this morning,
I'm 9 inches above
full.
right now, and I got the gate open about 1.5 foot.
Yeah.
Well, as much as the gate, I'm holding steady where I'm at right now. I'm at my DPA limit, or DEP limit.
Yeah.
So that's as much as I can open the gate without flooding the camps downstream.
So at least, and as far as your assessment of the properties on salmon at 9 inches,
I'm like this dock underwater.
the docks are underwater and floating, just like North Pond and East
Yeah.
Pond. But you're seeing things holding right now.
Yeah, it hasn't moved in the last 2 days.
Okay. Okay. So how much more can Great Pond
It's, because
take without,
my issue with going any more than the 8 inches is,
we're 6 inches right now. Tomorrow morning will be 8.
so if I wait another day, it's gonna be 8 inches. You know, if we get a storm next week, then we're gonna flood, I'm gonna flood out.
Yeah. The forecast with the exception of what we're seeing out there right now, as of yesterday afternoon was only a quarter of an inch for the next 10 days. Okay, so, but I haven't looked at it this afternoon, you know, we're getting more than a tenth of an inch right now, obviously, so. Um,
So my concern would be like towards the end of next week, and we don't really know what that weather's gonna bring. And
Right.
so, you know, I can give it another day. You know, I only wanna go up above 8 inches, I don't believe.
right,
That's just gonna take me longer to get rid of 8 inches. And I mean, well, 5 inches.
Yeah.
In Great Pond, than it is gonna take you guys longer to get 10 inches
Yeah.
going along.
yeah,
And, you know, so. If we get down, you know, what even dropping an inch and a half, 2 inches a day. You know,
Long Pond, yeah, we'll get to that, yeah, Long Pond's been dropping 2 inches a day,
yeah, so. if you get-
without Great Pond coming into the
Yeah.
mix.
But, like I said, Beaver Pond, Beaver Stream, and those streams are still flowing, but they've slowed down a lot.
A third,
Yeah,
I just drove by,
I've been checking them every day.
yeah, Long Pond is fed by. Really, 25% of Long Pond's water comes from Great Pond, only about 25%. Another 25% comes from Beaver Brook from the Highlands. And another 25% comes from Whittier Brook up in the Highlands, and the other 25% of miscellaneous little streams and whatnot. So Great Pond, Long Pond doesn't get all their water from any stretch, the imagination from Great Pond. But the gates are 9 by 10. He has 2 gates. So if we open those,
I wouldn't want to open both gates on there at this
no,
point.
just one gate, maybe go another 24 hours and then open up one gate 2 feet or something
I was thinking 2 feet, 30 inches. If I could get it, so I have a flat line,
at 8 inches above.
yeah, I could hold there for a few days.
Yeah.
2 more days. And then once you start getting down close to 3 inches above, then I'm gonna open up more.
Right, to hold it there, yeah,
So, well, so I can start drawing down.
right.
So, you know, if I give it until tomorrow before I open, then I open up to 30 inches.
And you'll be at 8 inches above tomorrow, which will be some washout, but
Yeah,
not what the others are seeing.
but you'll be another 2 inches down, so I'll put you at 8 inches. So
Mhm,
then you only have another 5 to go.
Yeah,
And, you know, you're gonna drop a lot faster than I am.
yeah,
I'm on corn.
in Long Pond, as of yesterday. Was 13 inches above full pond. And that's with everything wide open. That's going over the spillway, that means going over the spillway, water's 13 inches deep, plus the gates are wide open. And even then with 13 inches yesterday,
And that's
Okay.
with no water coming out of Great Pond.
right?
And
Okay, so
Great
you,
Pond, Great Pond still has a bunch of water coming into it.
right, this is the issue. So Long Pond has dropped 1.8 inches in the last 22 hours. Okay, so without Great Pond, we can see Long Pond continuing to drop a couple of inches a day anyways. Because again, 2 days ago, Beaver Brook, which is normally maybe 40 feet wide, was 100 yards wide. Okay, and just roaring, as was Whittier Brook coming in from Whittier Pond, same thing. That's all 30% less than what it was 2 days now, as of right now.
It's even more than that. It's like 60% less. I have the video.
Well, that's why I said it's 30% of what it was, 60% less. So, I was happy to see that, but we still have water coming in.
How much is going over the spillway?
Where?
Great Pond.
Great one, well,
There'll be 6 inches going.
6 inches, yeah, 6.53 inches.
Those that are calculated gallon flow right there.
It's minimal. It doesn't matter. That doesn't affect Long Pond.
Oh, excuse me, yeah,
It's a drop in the bucket.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. So, that's it in a nutshell. We're trying to, we have one lake that's really severely, extremely flooded. And we're just as soon not have a second lake. And so how much can we actually take in Great Pond? That's where we're at. And right now, we're at 6 inches on Great Pond. And we can take another 2 inches with minimal stress.
Mhm.
Any
Right.
concern downstream of Long Pond? You know, is there a maximum limit we can release? there?
Yeah, well, this-
Let people out in the
yeah,
stream and
this
what
came
they
out-
can take?
Yeah, this came, Essex Hydro, which runs the dam over at, Oakland. Asked me 2 days ago, he said, with all this rain, can you guys shut it down a little bit? You gotta be kidding me. I sent him some pictures, and so anyway, Snow Pond. Messalonsky was only, a quarter of an inch below full yesterday morning. Today, they're 2 inches, or 2 inches above, excuse me. And so they've gone up 1.5 inches since yesterday, so all of this is obviously going downstream to them.
They were a quarter inch below or above?
A quarter inch above, yeah, plus 0.29 inches above, basically full pond. And now they're starting to get our wrath. And they're 1.63 inches since yesterday, which is 1.92 above full pond, above full pond, so. There's gonna be, most of the people in the stream are used to it, our spring in Belgrade Stream, which is 8.5 miles long. From the bottom of Long Pond to Messalonsky, it's about 4 miles. And they're kind of used to that, and we haven't had any complaints, but they're getting a lot of water right now. And milfoil. So what I'm hearing is if we go another 24 hours with Great Pond, it will certainly come up to the way you can look at we get these reports every morning from Essex Hydro. We can see the gate opening, how much rain, the water trajectory. So we can put it all together. And that's what we're trying to do right now, is look at the whole watershed and come up with a rational plan. So what I'm hearing is if we let Great Pond come up another 2 inches to 8 inches and change, Long Pond will keep on dropping at least 2 inches a day. And then open up Great Pond at that point. 2 feet, 1 gate, 2 feet, 4 feet. What are you guesstimating right now?
I'm gonna go 31.
30 inches? Okay, yeah. And that'll be,
Tomorrow morning?
yeah, Thursday morning.
Yeah, I got an issue down there, though, and then I need a hand. I've got my waders with me, but I have a tree about this big, about 20 feet long. Over by the spillway, but I wanna drag it over as far as I can. And tie it off to the bridge,
Yeah,
and we'll have to work on getting that out at some point, but. I've got a fairly good sized rope and get it tied to the bridge.
you wanna do that when we finish the meeting or,
So,
okay,
yeah, I got my waders with me, I'll go in the water, then everybody else can stay up on the bridge.
okay. 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 Okay, we'll talk about the individual dams afterwards. What does everyone think of that suggestion? Yeah,
Just a question, if it goes to 30 tomorrow.
Yep.
And we gain the 2 inches possibly by morning, which
Yep.
our docks are still under, but we're getting to a place that's better.
yeah, this is John Rice with Castle Island Camps.
It is looking better there.
Yep.
But if it goes up 2 inches on the pond, or if it starts to go up, is there a call in our decision of, hey,
Oh, absolutely.
let's back off this
Yeah.
much, still taking 2 feet off, or we're gonna, I would think if you open that up, whatever we were losing, we're gonna stay steady for that.
Not really, not
You think we'll
really.
Still lose?
Yeah, because his gate is only 9 feet by 10 feet. We're talking one
Okay.
gate.
Okay,
And even when it's fully open, okay,
Yeah.
it's still only 25%. of all the water that comes into Great Pond.
By the way, I appreciate Great Pond being in the situation it was, and we were lost
Yeah,
the camps.
so, you know, I can't see it really, the 30 inches, it's going to help out Great Pond more than be a detriment to Long Pond. You know, because it's only one issue, and the other, Beaver Brook, Whittier Brook, and the rest are dropping down now.
Right.
You know, significantly, so that makes sense to me.
And with each of the other dams that are feeding Great Pond, agree to a point in which they would keep their gates and start to flow and to work. Keep that, even if they're above full pond, I say, we don't want to be at this magic number. But say, hey, we're gonna hold, because we're at our number that we're okay. With no rain for 10 days, and this will take a few more days.
Yeah.
Then say, hey, now we're gonna start giving you some more. But not just keep dumping 3 ponds if you don't have to dump, just meet your
Yeah.
magic number on 1 pond.
Yeah, I don't know, okay, it's a good point, we have to assess how much water's coming in from East Pond and North Pond. If you know, you're. What, at least on North Pond, at least 12 inches above right now, so you've got to keep it open,
Yeah,
you've got, you
and
know,
we don't even have it fully open right now.
yeah. So you've got to continue on for at least a week anyways.
I mean, it's hard to put a day on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't seen anything today, because I haven't been around there all day.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put a day number on there, but. It's gonna be a few days for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and same thing with East Pond, right?
We could shut our gate, if we shut our gates, the water's still gonna go over the top of them,
Right,
you know,
right,
because our gates are only this high.
yeah.
And right now we got 6 inches going over the top.
So you're only 6 inches above full pond,
We have docks are floating away now.
Right.
People are not happy with the high.
right? Yeah, because can you handle 3 inches above full pond?
3 inches probably the.
Yeah, because that's where
I've
we
never
keep
seen it
ours.
as high as it is now.
See, we can't hold it there because our boards are. on
Right,
the side,
right,
The water
right.
just cascades over.
No
until we
control,
get to full pond.
Right.
So,
So East Pond isn't particularly a problem, but sounds like North Pond is.
What's everybody's best guess on when you'll be back to normal? Say you know, have you ever seen it 6 inches above the boards or know how long it'll take to get back down?
no,
What are you losing per day? Like how, yeah, it's not like I'm done.
we're staying steady.
Okay.
Yeah.
East Pond is very similar to Long Pond. For every inch of rainfall, it usually raises 3 inches.
Yeah.
Because the
The steep water.
serpentine, the flat, it's a large sponge there. There's actually more. The lake is only about a third of the total water.
Shed, yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
We have a flow chart. And it should take about a week for us to get back.
To where you'd like to be.
The
Yeah.
full pond,
Yeah,
To the top of the boards.
and North Pond would be at least that as well.
Did anybody drive around the Smithfield Flats today? Because yesterday they were.
Yeah.
Did you see them today?
Yeah, they're down.
They're down.
They're down a little bit, and I wanna say the dam was probably down an inch from what it was this. Monday afternoon.
I don't think any of them north or east can shut down, and I know Salmon can't, so I think we'll just have to absorb it with gate.
Yeah.
And run the 30 inches,
Yeah,
and, you
see
know,
if you can control.
do that for day,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. When it first goes, I mean, the numbers aren't gonna be, when it first opened, they're not gonna be very accurate. But we'll give it another 24 hours, see where it levels out to.
Yeah.
And adjust from there,
And try to keep it at 8 inches.
you know,
Yeah, and then we'll look at it again in a couple of days.
I think that's the only thing that we can do.
Yeah.
Without, because all those lakes are small lakes, Salmon and Graw, north and east, and it's not gonna take them that long to get down, but they're gonna flood quickly,
Right.
so.
You got a question?
Well, I was
John?
just thinking like the Castle Camps or whatever it is gonna wanna be in touch probably,
Oh, yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Cause it sounds like this is a good plan until you start to see.
And they're saying we hopefully don't.
Won't,
Which
right,
I didn't realize that, because I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
because we're putting out the max amount we can and we're only losing two.
yeah,
I thought that would equalize us, that's all.
Yeah, but things are drying up. See, that was a flash flood situation.
Yeah,
for
And
sure.
I've noticed even on, you know, on the North Belgrade side, all the little brooks, they're just back, almost back.
Almost
down to
normal.
trickle.
Yeah.
So it's just the bigger, it's not upstream. That's what I'm getting out of salmon. It's the bog down here in 27. You know, and I videoed Beaver Brook Monday morning.
Me too.
And what it is now is
Yeah.
totally different.
And that was 100 yards wide.
And I noticed all the other little brooks going into Long Pond has dwindled back down to near normal as well.
Was your travel today on Pine Tree Camp Road when you saw the Great Meadow Stream?
On 225.
Oh, okay, I was on the Pine Tree Camp Road, which is a
Yeah.
little bit closer
Sure.
to our dam.
Yep.
Yesterday, and that was at least 100 yards. wide.
Yeah, yeah. And it was today. I mean, down at 225.
Yeah.
It was just as wide.
Yeah.
You know, so we know where the problems are. It's coming
Yeah.
from the other lakes, not from the watershed as much.
Yeah.
Which is good news. That it was, in fact, more of a flash flood situation. But, you know. Like I said, yesterday, the forecast for the next 10 days was only 1/4 of an inch, but it looks like we got at least 1/4 of an inch today. So we'll have to just kind of watch it. We can't handle any more, you know. But I think we have a good plan with the cards that we've been dealt.
I hope he sleeps in a little bit.
Huh?
So I hope he sleeps in a little bit.
Jesus.
I'm gonna wait for a reading anyways. before I open it, so
Yeah.
we'll be first.
I mean, if it slowed down to being just like if it didn't go 2 inches tomorrow. I don't know, but we could use. Really 4. And we're getting off of the walls around that lake. But
Well, if it doesn't go to 8
we're
inches,
close.
I'll tell you this, if it doesn't go to 8 inches, then I'll hold off until it is.
Okay, and it's looking good. I mean, I
Yeah.
was shocked to see it stabilize.
Yeah.
From Monday morning when the gates did get open. To 5 PM when I finally got to see it, like, oh my gosh, we're only doing about this much now.
Yeah.
And then the next morning. You could just.
I can see us comfortably,
So,
you know, dropping 2 inches a day, you know, even with his 30 inches.
oh, good.
You know, I feel confident about that, but we're gonna keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
And we have to, Essex Hydro normally gives us these readouts every morning, about 6:30, 8:30 in the morning. They missed a day, a couple of days ago, and the only way we can measure Great Pond is with this right now. All of the other dams still have a staff gauge, it's like an 8-foot long gauge. Brass gauge that, you know, is graduated that we can look at and see physically. Well, we lost that at Great Pond because the concrete that was holding it disappeared, fell off. So the only way that Trey can get an accurate measurement, other than look at the rocks that he's used to looking at, is to get this computer readout. So if that does come tomorrow morning, then, you know, he'll jump right on it. But if it comes in the afternoon, you know, they have to wait a little bit, but
Any concern, Craig, with the concrete around the gate?
No, it's.
there's no water running.
Not yet. When it gets open 30 inches, that's a lot of power.
Yeah, but it's not structurally, you know. It's just not structurally, it's all on the surface.
And with the ice gone now on it, which was added further problems, tension to the gate. So that's 30 inches shouldn't be a factor.
So a question, Craig, when you open your gates, how fast does Great Pond typically drop in 24 hours?
It's always different, it depends on you know, how much water is running into it.
But I mean, if it was just to stay with your maintenance during the summertime, will you do a daily release?
I don't even know if I have a number to give to you that would be accurate, I don't know.
We do have,
Probably about quarter to a half an inch, but it takes a lot to drop Great Pond. It's
Yeah.
just,
Because Monday, 8:30 in the morning. Before the second gate was open at East Pond, it was touching the bottom of the gate that was all the way open.
Yes.
And right now, like at noon today, it was 2 inches lower, so East Pond is coming down slowly.
Mhm.
And it might be, 24 hours of minor adjustment there with fixing burden off of North Pond. And once North Pond gets to, a few inches above, we can start dropping that down, leave an inch open and. I mean, I think there's, a plan can be had, it just, take a little diligence.
Yeah.
And take the pressure off of Long Pond. And everybody.
as long as we can.
I think, I would think by, I don't know, Sunday, you guys should be down close to,
Long Pond,
3 to 5 inches.
yeah, again, Long Pond is, right now 11.4 inches below full pond, almost a foot. High, I mean, yeah, excuse me, high.
It's okay.
It's been dizzy few days here.
Those 2 inches.
Yeah, so, almost a foot above, and we need to have it, drop it down 9 inches, basically, so it's 2 inches a day,
Right.
But I would agree that with the other way you're saying, if we're even. If it's 11. 6, so 5 more inches would put us 6 above. And that's still a much better place.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And you gain a half an inch or maybe a half an inch and all the legs can start blending together.
Yep.
And if that isn't the direction it's going, I certainly am resting and doing better.
Yeah.
Than where we were from being at or just slightly above full pond when the rain started. And then being, we were just set back. We just it was not ready.
Yep.
And the other lakes seemed like they had a plan of being ready to take on water.
Yeah. But we dropped the ball on Long Pond. Great Pond, we had plenty of, rooms. You want to give us an update on Long Pond?
Oh, I just want to say a couple weeks ago, I was 5 inches above full pond on Long Pond. And I was bringing it down in anticipation of rain. I did not expect what we got. Obviously, this was a complete surprise. I know it was gonna rain, but the latest forecast I had seen was 2.5 inches. And I had already brought it down to just above full pond, and it was still dropping before this rain came in. Right now it's below a foot above full right now. And I'm just hoping that we continue to move in that direction, obviously. Even if it's 1 3/4 or 1.5 inches, whatever, it's all gonna help us, obviously, so.
I feel like we can slow the flow, we can't stop the flow.
But I feel confident that we can, we're gonna drop 2 inches a day. So I think we feel confident with all of the factors coming in to the mix. I think, and then hold Great Pond as best we can. We don't add too long punch pressure. Question? Yeah,
Only slightly above full.
pardon?
Messalonsky is actually only slightly above.
Yeah, well, they haven't, it takes,
That's great.
I'm on Upper Long Pond. Long Pond's 9 miles long, right from Upper Long Pond to the Weeds Mill Dam. And it takes basically 3 days, if I remember correctly, from my house on Upper Long Pond to get down to Weeds Mill. So you put a bottle in the water with a, 12 ET. It's gonna take about 3 days for that to get down there. So with all of this flooding, it's, and you've got Long Pond 9 miles long, and you've got Great Pond 6 miles, from the dam to Great Meadow Stream, Great Meadow Stream in North Bay. And then you've got 8 miles of a kind of a choke point, another choke point with Belgrade Stream. So that's why it's taking that long to get down to Messalonsky. But they're going to see it.
Now is the hydro dam, are they bypassing the generator and?
I don't know if they're producing or not, I would imagine they are, but I
But
haven't.
are they spilling Are they bypassing it as well?
Oh, they would have to have everything wide open.
There's water going over the cascade, not just the penstock. Normally it all goes through the penstock, but it's cascading down the.
Yeah, like I said, it was, as of this morning, it was, 2 inches, 1.92 inches going over the top. So it's that deep going over the top. But they haven't seen anything yet. Because all of this mess is heading down stream.
They could probably still dump it faster than it would come in.
Yeah, because we got all of these lakes, in 24 hours. They've got 20 miles of waterway to help slow things down and distribute the, the volume. So, which we didn't have. So,
I think the weather service said this was like a 500-year record in terms of the amount of rain you got in 24 hours.
we saw not too long ago,
It was a couple of years ago, I think we had, or
yeah, we had
less than that, where we had, the Long Pond came up. It was like 6-7 inches in overnight.
Yeah, and it came up 12 inches.
I mean, that, we might have gotten 2 inches on that storm.
That was near Christmas, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
And again, if we get, Long Pond gets 2 inches of rain, it's going to come up 6 inches in 24 hours. It's a 3-to-1 ratio because of the steep hillside, steep watershed. Great Pond, because it's relatively flat, we've got some hills on the mountain, but that only comes up maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches for every physical inch of rain. And the same thing with probably North Pond would come up a little higher because you've got the steep hillsides there. So, for if we just get 2 inches of rain, it's still 6 inches. It's gonna come up 6 inches, which is gonna flood people's docks. So that's why we have to be, not just look at the forecast, but we're getting it tomorrow. I'll go ahead and open it up tonight or tomorrow morning. You gotta make room. It's going to take a while. These gates are only 9 feet by 10 feet, so it's gonna take a while to dump that water, to make room. So it's a balancing act. And no one thought we were getting this much. I sent an email out to everyone last Saturday night saying that we have at that time, it was 3.28 inches forecasted for the next 10 days. So last Saturday night, I said, let's go ahead and make room. So we started making room except for Long Pond. And then all of a sudden, the skies opened up. And even Sunday, they still didn't forecast 5 inches, not even 3 inches. It was 2-point-something inches. So we would still have floods. It would still be 6 or 8 inches above, but nothing like the foot that Long Pond's above right now. There's no way we could have avoided flooding, but we could have slowed it down a little bit here.
And then we could be helping Great Pond out already.
Yeah, absolutely.
More than say, geez, 24 more hours, you'd be open to that.
Yeah.
And instead, you're doing a service
Yeah.
to Long Pond. And being like, okay, let's see what we can do.
Thank God we have it, 8,500 acres, but,
Right,
a little bit of a buffer.
we definitely would have been, well, that gate would have been open today without an issue.
Yeah.
So.
So just, oh, sorry.
It's just that with the map of even 2.5, that's 7 inches. We shouldn't have been above pond at all going into rain starting Sunday night.
Right.
We should have been down 5 inches,
Yeah.
gone up 8.
That's right.
And then we got too much rain, we would have said, oh, we're up 12, but guess what? We're still in a better place.
That's right.
And we weren't. And the gates didn't get open until Monday morning. Which I wish that they would have been.
Yeah.
When it was pouring.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
I wish I had to.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Okay, as far as maintenance, Cam runs the dam at Salmon Lake, Salmon and McGraw, and you had some garbage or trees or something that came down in front of the dam.
Pine tree branch, probably, thinking the diameter came down, got stuck. I got it out.
Yeah.
I rode with my truck and pulled it out.
Okay. Now, we have a data logger there, that Essex Hydro doesn't run, but we have as an independent deal. And that had reported that we had yesterday, I showed it as, basically 0.5 inches or 1/10 of an inch, or basically 0.6 inches below full pond. Cam told me today that, no, we're 9 inches above. So what happened to our data logger?
Where the data logger is sitting, if there's a big spiral of water right there, and it's. where
Big
it's
eddy
sitting,
type of
yeah.
thing?
Well, again, the gate's so open, there's 2 spirals on each side, that'll get right in the door. I've been, yesterday afternoon, I closed the dam all the way, and if I close it all the way, it goes right over the water, right over the top of it.
Yeah.
To try to get an accurate reading. But I was, 6/10 over, which puts me 9 inches.
So to correct this, with this data logger, especially in springtime or when we have floods like this, do we have to relocate that because it's not
Yeah.
effective?
Get it away from the concrete as much as we can. If the further we move it away from the concrete, the more it's susceptible to debris and ice and everything else. I think it's just an issue when I have the gate open, as far as I do,
Okay. Okay,
limited, yeah, it's a limited issue really.
The goal of it was to not have you have to swing by the dam every day, so. I guess just in times of high water, when it's not reading right, they'll have to swing by.
okay. So that's a new issue that we just
Yeah.
developed.
the way that-
We installed this thing middle of last summer, and it's been great. And it does help these guys from having to go down every day. They have to go down because of MEMA and the fact that it's a class 3
Yeah.
dam. With possible flooding downstream, they require that we file a report every day. But now we have this data logger, which normally has been working great, with the exception of, this is all new ground.
Is it different than what you guys have at your other
Yes,
dams?
yeah.
Oh, it is.
And Essex Hydro fortunately has provided their server and their computer networking to incorporate this in with the rest of them. So they've really helped us out. But we have to stay up on top of it. As far as Wings Mill, any trees or stuff down there? And everything's fine. And you have that tree which we'll address on the way home. Everyone, all the dam keepers here have to let me know if you have anything, if in case, couple of weeks ago, remember, at Wings Mill, that the gauge was not reading.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
I need to know that right away,
Okay.
right away, if something is not right, because otherwise, I haven't a clue.
Yeah.
So same thing with you, if you have a tree down or you have a tree down, need to know immediately. If there's a little issue anywhere, you need to know. Any other questions? Anyone? Any other? It's been a learning lesson for all of us, but that's why we have the troops here to put our best resources together and you scout lemons, you make lemonade as best you can.
We were chatting in the road that I think this is becoming more common. And it's national,
It is, oh yeah,
but to have some discussions within this group, if we're saying that we're learning,
yeah,
is in July, we could all be looking great,
yeah,
and in less than 24 hours, these storms are ballooning up. And having a system in place in which the communication is there, but then the action is there.
Yeah.
And if the action isn't there, somebody else has to be action, and that's not there, then somebody else has to be action. So that, because I think this is a lot, I've never seen in 2 last winters, so much rain in October and November.
Yeah.
And even into December, if that was in the summertime.
Yeah.
We're flooded multiple times over.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason we weren't flooded is because they were drawdowns.
Yeah.
But
And none of that was forecasted.
right. But we're seeing it more often.
Yeah.
And the droughts are weird because it's almost, but
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see one of these bangers.
Yeah.
July something or whatever. And
From now. From right now, in May, through, August, they're still forecasting a 26% less precip, but of course, we just blew that out the window, right? But that's what NOAA has been forecasting, long-term forecasts as of a month ago. And then 16% less precip in August and September, and then back to a 26% for the fall, which is what they forecasted last year, but we know that we got nailed late last summer. So, we look at the long-term forecast and try to look into our crystal ball and see where we're going to be, rather than say, oh, okay, we have a storm coming tomorrow or the next day. We have to look into the future, a few days out and, give it our best shot. But not wait the night before or the day before, we can't do that. So, any other questions? If not, motion to adjourn? Yeah, go ahead, please.
The strategies are trying to stay an inch above full or at full pond,
And 3 inches above is our summer goal.
but now you're putting yourself at risk for a sudden skyburst comes along.
Not really, because we treat the 3 inches above as full pond.
Okay, so 3 inches above is full.
Is full pond, is the new, you might refer to it.
Because full pond, it's, your spillway is not being used.
That's right, your spillway, when you walk across it, is you won't get your
It's
feet
dry,
wet.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's full pond,
That's full pond,
when it's right up to that crest.
but you're saying that's 3 inches above.
Yeah, but
So
now-
your full pound is 3 inches below spillway,
Yep,
is the true full pond.
no,
So, fuzzy map.
The true full pond on Long Pond is really an inch below the spillway,
An inch below,
Yeah.
it's full pond.
is what the 38,
So your goal is to be 2 inches going over the spillway?
pretty much.
yeah,
Okay.
that changed with our new dam that, and if you look at that spillway, it's not perfectly level.
Yeah, I see,
It starts getting wet closer to the gate in the beginning and then it eventually.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Summertime is a little different too, because everything's so dry, the ponds, surrounding ponds are dry, the brooks are dry. We got caught in a saturated situation. And I don't know what Beaver Pond looked like, I'm pretty sure it was probably full when it started raining.
Yeah.
And springtime's harder to deal with, you're gonna get more of that water running into the pond than you would if it was dry.
Yeah,
because all the aquifers are, everything's running.
all right, so
Right
thank
now.
you for clarifying what full pond really is versus your.
Yeah, full pond is again, when the water's not going over the spillway, it's right at that crest. DEP, has stated that all of the lakes should be, after the ice out by April 1, should be at full pond, which is right at that crest. But we have gone in the last, this would be year 5, we have gone 3 inches above that. Because we know we're going to be into a drought situation. And again, as I said earlier, at 3 inches above full pond, no one's really complaining. It's not washing out anyone's dock or flooding any loon nest. So that's our new full pond, and DEP doesn't have a problem with that. So, so that is our full pond today. So if we know a storm's coming, we're gonna keep it at 3 inches. And we can actually, if we err by taking out too much, we're still in good shape, and we can slowly bring it back to 3 inches. But if you start at full pond right at that crest and you drop 3 inches now, people are complaining, they're going through propellers and everything else. So. Kind of the balance. But at 3 inches, and I don't know if that's what you want to do on Great excuse me, on North Pond and East Pond is, 3 inches, because that's what we're doing. And in a drought summer, you guys, all of these ponds, when the air temperature is 80 degrees, you're losing 3/4 of an, 3/10 of an inch a day due to oxidation, evaporation. Okay, and then if our water table dries up, okay, you've got something called, lose my voice, but that's okay. You've got something called inverse loading or something like that, where right now you've got the water table is, with the aquifers are still dumping water in. In a drought situation where the water table is low, the water actually goes back. So you all know when you're swimming, you go around and you feel a cold spot. If you feel a warm spot, stay away from warm spots. But if you feel a cold spot, that's an aquifer. But in a drought situation, you've got an inverse flow. It's actually going back the other way. Long Pond has more aquifers than Great Pond. Okay, so we have wondered why we're losing more water in Long Pond than we are with the same air temperatures and everything else in Great Pond. That's part of the reason. So, because we were scratching our heads a few years ago, like, what's happening? The research, and that's what happening. So, something else to throw into the
Does
mix.
DEP determine during those droughts how much water, if any, you guys need to be releasing?
No, they,
Like a base flow that you should have all the time?
yes, which is full pond. It should be a full pond, right at the crest.
Coming on one lake, Sand Lake,
Oh, it's salmon with
keep one
Yeah.
CFS,
flowing.
I get one CFS.
But not on Great Pond or Long Pond or, okay.
No, Long Pond had it for a number of years when they had the sewage facility on north of Oakland, that they had to, flush out that
Yeah,
stream.
yeah.
And, but that facility has been closed, so. Otherwise, we had a.
It was the driest time of the year, in the dry seasons. You guys have one CFS going out of your,
Mhm.
okay.
And I have to flush the stream 2 to 3 times a summer.
Yeah,
If I have the gates closed.
Mill Stream in the
So
village.
another stream,
yeah.
I have to flush that out.
And how long does that take? or-
I break about 30 inches, open 30 inches, and I try to leave it around 6 to 8 hours, 10 hours.
Okay,
You can see when there's fresh water down
yeah,
there. Usually 6 to 8 hours.
yeah.
I'll open it when I go to work, and I'll usually shut it down. that evening.
Then all that sediment and garbage goes into Long Pond.
Yeah.
Good for the fish.
But there's people that draw water out of the stream,
Yeah.
Right,
and,
right, right.
it just gets filled with algae.
The issue on East Pond with the curly pondweed and the serpentine right ahead of the dam, they're gonna be pulling. These 7 lakes is gonna be pulling the curly pondweed, so that, releases some of the stuff from
Yeah,
the sediment, so they run a net across. But if we're dumping water out of the dam, that's not really feasible, because the net
Sure.
gets sucked into the dam,
Right.
and you get holes in the net and everything else.
Right.
So I think there's a big concern, should be on North Pond spot, if we're releasing water during the summer when they're pulling the pondweed, that they're gonna get more pondweed downstream.
Mm.
And you may be getting it now, but there's nothing you can do now, but,
and Edie, you said that the little fragments are year round. I mean, they don't die in the winter.
They're not die, but they're not floating at this time. They don't drop them until about June or July. That's when they start dropping them.
Yeah.
That's when they're definitely floating. But when they're pulling the plants, they can drop off fragments and send them downstream.
Yeah.
And that's why, as soon as they start to go into the serpentine, we put up the nets.
Gotcha. Good. Any other questions or? Thanks for
Thank
your patience, John in particular. Anybody else? Motion to adjourn? It's 4:55.
Yeah.
Okay.